red there, the MP is a big old goose egg, so we're not casting any spells, we're going to punch a lot of things. Alright, and as our runners get going, they're going to get the big speech from the king, and they're going to check out their stats. They're going to check out these 3 treasure boxes, one of them guaranteed to be a key. nycguy and Guelph finding a lot of more power, a fighter's ring for +2 attack, but the big prize is Erdrick's sword right next door for 40 extra attack power. So again, we don't want to cast spells, we can't cast spells, who cares, we're going to go destroy some things.
That's awesome. So I've done a couple practice seeds, and 2 of the practice seeds that I've done, I've gotten fighter sword, or I'm sorry, Erdrick sword in the throne room, or in like the immediate Tantagial armory with an extra key in the throne room. So this doesn't surprise me from my experience with the DWR.
Ooh, you're bringing the good luck. Well, I was going to say good luck, the good sword luck. We saw nycguy able to take out a scorpion even though it had baby breath. He was still able to get rid of it quickly, but Guelph, unfortunately, wandering out, trying to find a monster. He found something a little too much even for Erdrick's sword to chew off. He found an Axe Knight, so he got sent home, but nycguy found this nice zone right to the left of the castle with scorpions and magidrakes, and don't look now, but he's up to 3 already.
That's awesome. And just
These starts with Erdrick's swords are great because you just wander out and start killing things. You don't really have to go look for much. So yeah, we can see, yeah, both did equip the ring, I think, and so both of them are sitting at, well, you see nycguy already up to 64 attack power, Guelph a level or 2 behind, sitting on 59. Ooh, Guelph's found a wolf, though. This is going to catch him up real quick, if he wakes up, though.
So, nycguy, when we see our runners, like, exploring the area outside of Tantagial, like, is there any sort of benefit to which, like, grid squares they're checking here for encounters?
Yeah, so there's a couple. The way the... Ooh, nycguy picking up 4. The way the randomizer works is you've got typically your lower range. Wow, every spell showed up by 4. Not everyone, but a lot of them. You've got your lower range enemies right around the castle. You'll see them on these desert tiles and these mountain tiles because those have the highest encounter rate. So they're looking to grind, they're looking to pick up experience as quickly as possible. nycguy in this desert has found a couple skeletons. Those are going to give him experience really quickly. And he finally died after having 2 HP for a while. He finally gets taken out. But yeah, so you're looking at that middle area, and then you saw Guelph and nyc both kind of go away from the castle a little bit because in the next zone over, zones are 15 squares by 15 squares. You don't really know exactly where they are, so you just kind of wander a little bit. Either to the left or right or the top or bottom, you're going to find some zones with those, like, next level up. Like, you find things like this Druid that Guelph has, or the Scorpion nycguy had, or the Skeleton that nyc had. The Wolves show up there, too. So you can find some, you know, a little bigger enemies. Normally you don't want to go straight there because you don't have the ability to kill them, but since we have the ability to kill them, you saw both of our runners kind of branch out a little further from the castle than normal, and when they're in grind mode, they'll try to stick to those mountains and deserts because they want the higher encounters. Meanwhile, the plains have the lowest encounter rate, so if you're trying to explore around, you'll typically try to stay on those. We have our first location on Guelph's side, and Guelph has the Radiant spell, so we can light it up and see that it is Mountain Cave, and a Sharlock enemy greets him right away and sends him out of Mountain Cave. So we'll see if that prompts him to go investigate and check out the 5 treasure chests that Mountain has to offer, or if he maybe leaves that for a little later. Every zone having 5 enemies, so that top floor of the Mountain Cave does have 4 other enemies that we don't know about, but we'll see if that werewolf maybe kind of scares Guelph away.
So in the early game, I mean, obviously I know exploration is massive with these with this randomizer as a whole, with the procedurally generated overworld. How much should you be balancing exploration with getting early levels?
Well, there is the million-dollar question, right? Well, first of all, nycguy right there just picking up hurt more, so as if he couldn't deal enough damage before, he deals some now. And I always feel like when you want to set out has something to do with, I guess what I kind of vaguely refer to as like survivability. Like to put it simply, like you want to venture out when you feel like you can survive for a while. But as far as what that means is some combination of being able to run from things. You can see that NYC guy is kind of set out because he's got 58 agility, so good chance to run from things. He can also kill things. You know, he has hurt more, he has the sword. He can also heal as well. Heal more showed up. So some combination of those things. I don't really feel like there's any sort of set rule, of course, right? That's always the big one that people wonder when should they get going. But when you have some ability to survive, whether it be ability to attack things or run or heal or hurt more, some combination of those things is usually a good time to set out, especially because if you have those things, you can usually pick up experience while exploring. And that's one thing that kind of, like, not really a big fan of doing just one thing at a time. You'd like to be doing multiple things at a time. So if you can explore and kill stuff, you're not just running from everything as you explore, that's really nice. Oh,
Awesome.
Speaking of really nice, Guelph back in the mountain cave, and he's discovered that Wraith Knights have the hurt spell, so he's going to be able to kill this Wraith Knight with the excellent move at the end, just for style. And now he's level 6, he's got his hurt more spell, and he's going to be certainly on the exploration hunt as well. Hurt more probably not needed right now, but I mean, certainly both of our runners will take it. It helps them to kill stuff a heck of a lot faster. And, you know, Guelph has hit 7. The stats, agility's pretty good, but otherwise, the stats are kind of meh. Obviously, our attack power looks good because we have the sword, but for level 7, our stats are sort of whatever. It's a really good thing we have the sword and hurt more. I think we might be struggling a bit here.
Yeah, I'm sure that early heal more is going to help too, like we see on Guelph's side, kind of struggling with the Droll Magi there.
Yeah, well, Heal More is one you like to see. Certainly Heal More is going to help. I think our runners are a bit glass cannons right now, though. I don't know how many hits we can really absorb, like 33 and 34. Oh, Guelph with a key. That's pretty big. That's maybe I was going to say the last big thing that was missing was keys, so Guelph with a key. However, NYC guy in that same mountain cave with the same hurt mores and swords and everything, he's going to be picking up his key really shortly, so they're both right on each other's tail.
So is this a situation where you would go down and would you try to take a death warp here back to Tantagel?
I personally probably, I think for both runners it's going to happen because they're sitting on pretty low resources. I don't know, the mountain cave's not too far away from home, but also we haven't seen a town yet. So the big reason to take the death warp would be to try to initiate the gold grind, the chest glitch for the gold grind. But we haven't seen a town yet, so you could pick up a whole bunch of money, and you can survive with it for a little bit. Again, the HP's low, though. So I don't know where you'd really go with it. That would kind of stop me from doing this right now. Plus, you have the grave later on, too, right? I guess I understand wanting to go back and check Tantagel really quickly, but I guess I feel like I probably would keep exploring, and then I feel like I'm going to, just check the castle whenever I die. But Guelph, low resources, is back at the castle, and he's going to see what the treasury has and what the back of Tantagel has.
Awesome. And so, the cursed belt, is there any benefit to that at all?
Yeah, sort of. It's an informational one, right?
Okay.
So, that's kind of all it's really good for. It also can be sold for 180 gold. So sometimes in the beginning of the game, you'll see people hold on to their cursed belts they find in one of the early treasure chests, and they'll maybe try to make it to a town with their cursed belts so they can sell them and pick up some goodies. It does have, right, as Z points out in chat, it has no use at all when equipping. It will just curse you and nothing else. Nothing else good comes from it. But it does have some informational use, which we'll get to in a second, as Guelph has the chest glitch active. He has opened up 8 treasure chests without stepping on the overworld, so he's able to take this treasure chest and all these treasure chests over and over again. We see the glitch message for the club and the bamboo pole. That is not correct. I believe we saw that was a torch maybe or something. He checked his inventory. I kind of missed what it was, but there's the stones, sunlight. Yeah. That was an herb, I think, actually, but anyway. And there's a couple of gold chests. So here's the issue I was mentioning a second ago, is this gold glitch, since he's opened up more than 8 treasure chests without going onto the overworld, the chest array hasn't reset, so it's got nowhere to put the empties, and it can just take money as long as he wants to. He could take money forever, however, no towns means who knows where you're going to take all that money to. So he does have that information, though, so perhaps he can, if he finds a town later, he might be able to gold grind out of Grave if he so feels like. You see nycguy has the same thing in the freebie cave down below Tantagle. Checks and sees that it is not the broadsword, it is the fairy water under there. So Guelph is going to get his glitched fairy water.
That explains a lot, right, guy? This happened to me in a practice seed, and it told me that I found Erdrick's armor, and I got really excited, and then it wasn't Erdrick's armor, it was something else entirely. And my mood immediately plummeted.
Yeah, that's weird. We usually don't see, like, Erdrick's armor, Erdrick's sword show up as those messages. You get all kinds of fun messages, like, I think the red is a classic, the plate Drakema is a classic one, the sword Magidrake. You get all kinds of fun ones like that. Never seen an actual Erdrick's armor before, but yeah, that's kind of a mean little troll from the game there if it did that to you.
It's a teachable moment.
Yeah, teaches you just how mean the randomizer can be sometimes.
Rando's gonna rando.
Oh, and then some. And speaking of, we were talking about the treasury. I intentionally left one item off as our runners they've kind of checked their treasure chest. Now they're going back out in the world hurt-mooring things. The Stones of Sunlight are also in there. Guelph's about to pick up his, nycguy about to pick up his. Guelph had his before. But the Stones of Sunlight are a pretty key item towards our overall goal here, which we should eventually probably talk about our overall goal. Our overall goal is to get the Ball of Light and do that by killing the evil Dragon Lord. The Dragon Lord gets kind of tired of heroes coming in and trying to take his head off, though, so he put this annoying little moat around his castle. And instead of just maybe, like, I don't know, swimming across the moat or something, we have to instead build a bridge. In order to build that bridge, we need to go gather up stuff from all places in the world. We have to gather up a silver harp, the Stones of Sunlight, which have already been gathered by both our runners, and Erdrick's token. And if that wasn't enough, once we gather up all that stuff, we have to go trade the silver harp in at some cave somewhere out in the world. And then we have to take all three of those things to another cave to trade them in for the rainbow drop, which will finally let us build the bridge. So instead of swimming a tile or two, we have to do all that. So our runners are going to be on the lookout for those quest items. They don't do anything to, help our runners' stats or anything like that, but they're necessary to gain access to Sharlock and gain access to the final dungeon. So both of them have the Stones of Sunlight, and they're on the hunt for the harp and token to complete their little quest item inventory.
And this is the free cave here for Guelph, right? Erdrick's cave? Is that what this is?
Yep, this is Erdrick's Cave, Tablet Cave, depending on what you want to call it. This one's a free one. It's an annoying one, though. Guelph gets the empty there. I always hate that because, it takes a while to walk in. You have to, if you don't have outside, it takes a while to walk out. Ooh, nycguy with coal, so we'll bring up those cursed bells. We'll get back to those in a second. But it always takes long. There's one treasure chest, and you have to check it, and it turns out to be something like the empty, and you're like, great, I lost so much time. But, you have to check it. So it is one free chest, but it feels like a lot of work for that one free chest. But Guelph does his due diligence and finds the empty. And nycguy has a death necklace. This introduces a lot of interesting things. Let's see what's at the shop here, and we'll get into the interesting things that could happen here. Ooh, so yeah, Z points out in chat, the death necklace is interesting in several ways. First of all, the death necklace, if you take it, either their treasure chest or search spot, after you take it once, it replaces it with a gold spot, but it's a low gold. It's like 120 to 150 gold. So what nycguy could have done there was he could have taken that, searched that spot over and over and over again. The first time gave him the death necklace. After that, he would have gotten tiny little amounts of gold. And it's not great because it takes a long time to grind up for anything really good. And we saw in Cole, there wasn't a whole lot of, he got the chainmail and small shields, which is probably the best defense that was on offer. And other than that, the only thing he might have considered in, some alternate reality was maybe grinding for a broadsword. But we're obviously beyond broadsword point, so... And yeah, I'm like, even Cole did have a flame sword. Man, even going to 9,800 gold, 100 at a time, like, ooh, that's a lot of searching. That's a lot of takes. So,
It's a big investment.
it's definitely possible in an alternate world. We didn't have Erdrick's sword though, but NYC guy realizing that he's good on his sword, so didn't need to do that. So as our runners, well, they're just out there exploring and hurt-mooring things. Coming back to Cole and the death necklace and the search spots, there are 3 overworld search spots that we can look for items at. Cole is one of them. 4 steps south of the Baths, and Cole is one of them. The town of Canton, which we have not yet discovered yet, has an old man behind a bunch of barrier tiles and behind a locked door and everything that will give you coordinates to a search spot on the overworld somewhere. And then Hawksness has an enemy, a Sharlock enemy of some type, Spike Tile enemy of some type, guarding a 3rd search spot. And these search spots could have Erdrick's items, they could have the Death Necklace, they could have a Fairy Flute, they could have our quest items. So all kinds of goodies there. As Guelph gets to Cole, Guelph will actually probably be very happy to see it just has a Death Necklace, because it only is that far from home. But they could have all sorts of goodies, or they could be empty. And so coming back to those cursed belts, ooh, Juz has a talent on his side, another talent on his side. Coming back to those cursed belts, every time an item is on the overworld, it's replaced in a treasure chest by a cursed belt. So we've seen 2 cursed belts so far, which means we know 2 of those spots, at least 2 of those spots, have to be filled with items. The 3rd one, maybe it is. Maybe there's a 3rd item. We just haven't seen that cursed belt yet. But 2 cursed belts means 2 of those 3, at least 2 of those 3, contain items on them.
That's really good information. I had no idea about that. I was doing a practice, and there were several cursed belts, and I feel like in one dungeon, I feel like I found 2 of them, like in chests next to each other.
Yeah, so the nice thing is that, I mean, yeah, it's definitely happened. The other thing you have to watch out for is when that chest glitch is active and you pick up a cursed belt and forget it's a cursed belt because it displays something else, or you accidentally, like, grab 2 of them and think there's 2 and there's only 1, that kind of thing. So counting to 3 can be difficult sometimes.
Regardless of the randomizer, counting can be difficult.
Yeah, the randomizer has a tough time counting agility sometimes, so it can't yell at me for having a tough time counting to 3. Yeah, but so sometimes you get information, like, for example, if you know you only need 1 more item and you've seen 3 cursed belts but only checked 2 overworld spots, you kind of know that last thing you need has to be in that 3rd spot, so you won't bother going to, check out treasure chest in some dungeon somewhere. So little things like that. It's pretty much an informational. Well, cursed belts are definitely informational. There's NYC guy trying a manip there, and then gets away after he tries the standard running, so there you go.
And Guelph has dug up Rimmaldar.
He has. Usually that's way more exciting. However, both the runners have keys. So Rimmaldar is good for finding keys. However, if you already have keys, then it just has that weapon shop up top there. And it has the 1 treasure chest. You saw Guelph use up 2 keys to get a bunch of gold. And looks like he's going to stumble into Hawksness and hopefully not the Red Dragons. NYC guy is about to get his empty from the tablet cave. Might not be an empty for him, but it's an herb. So this could be big for Guelph. He has hurt more, he has heal more, he has a really good chance to kill whatever is on the spike tile here, but he did not. He accidentally casting hurt. Well, done that many times before. Cast hurt on the swamp. Ooh, blue dragon. And so he's going to go for the hurt more on the blue dragon. The blue dragons have 50% resistance, roughly 50% resistance, so he needs to land 2 of them. He goes for the hurt more and fight and can't quite get it.
So when you say 50% resistance, that's a 50-50 shot of, like, not getting, like, the good damage on the hurt more?
Oh, 50% chance that it'll just miss entirely and you'll do no damage. Yeah, so that's tricky right now with the low HP. You can't afford many misses. We don't have a lot of extra turns. Yeah, that blue dragon can kill us in probably 2 swings. So we get maybe 3 actions at best. So, yeah, that's a little tight. And that's the big stat that I think is definitely is bad right now. We've got, the MP is caught up. Speaking of all these levels have been coming fast and furious thanks to Hurt More and the sword. The MP's caught up. The agility's been good the whole time. Strength is fine. And the HP is 37, so we are definitely glass cannons. That's kind of the problem we saw with that blue dragon. Like, yes, we can deal a lot of damage, but we can only take, maybe 3 hits from the big enemies before we get sent back to the castle. So, you're going to kill something, you better do it fast.
Right. And I think Guelph's was gonna try his luck again, maybe, but that Armor Knight had other plans for him.
Ooh, yeah, 35 from the Armored Knight. When your max HP is 37, even if you have a hurt more, that's rough. Yeah, it kind of makes sense because, sitting on that, what he's hoping for, the other thing we haven't specifically mentioned yet, they're on the hunt for Erdrick's armor. You really need that. That's going to reduce the Dragon Lord 2 breath. Down, that the Dragon Lord obviously has, down from, I believe, 68 from 72 if you don't have the armor, all the way down to 42 to 48. Makes it a lot more manageable to kill the Dragon Lord. Also has a wealth of other, everything. Does everything, basically. High defense, prevents barrier tiles from damaging you, stops spell resistance, hurt spell resistance, adds an HP, I don't know, probably does other stuff too, right? Does everything. It does everything. You want this thing. And that's one of the things that could be either in a chest or that search spot. So yeah, Guelph is thinking, like, if he can get back to Hawk's Nest and maybe land a couple lucky Hurtmores, he's going to get, 3 shots to hit 2, like, not out of the realm of possibility. If the armor's there, that could give a huge advantage, especially this low HP.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so nycguy is... Ooh, is he going... Maybe he's heading back... I thought maybe he was heading back in the direction of Hawk's Nest, but I think he's found a zone that he'd like to grind here. And this is another spot that I think has become a lot more Guelph picking up 10 here, and I think this is the level Mike was saying was the 10018, so just what you didn't... Yeah. Well, you want, but yeah. This is something that's become a lot more common with this newest version of the randomizer. It seems like a lot of times there's a stat that's kind of lagging behind, and here HP is lagging really far behind. I mentioned earlier you kind of don't want to explore unless you have some semblance of, like, survivability, and even though our runners can kill a lot of things pretty quickly, 37 HP? Bleh. So nycguy kind of looked like he was going to maybe settle into a mid-game grind, basically use his Hurtmore, use his Erdrick sword to just grind up some levels now, before he's found everything, and hopefully try to get the stats up so he does less dying as he goes to explore. So that's something that we're seeing a lot more of with these sort of stats that lag behind. Oof, but as I say that, nycguy getting terrible Hurtmore luck on that green dragon. Hurtmore supposed to miss only, I believe, 3 out of 16 on those, and it picked quite a time. Right, Mike. Greens did have heal more. Yeah. Oof. And Guelph finds out that Hawk's Nest does have red dragons. Greens having heal more is a little annoying, but you have a fairly decent shot at one-shotting them with Hurtmore, so maybe we'll see if our runners still try to Hurtmore them to death despite the heal more. Maybe they attack and then Hurtmore or something like that.
Yeah, both the runners very close in experience points right now. Waiting to kind of see, like, where one's going to gain an edge over the other one, but similar exploration, and just whether or not we're going to either commit to a Hawk's Nest fight or just keep exploring the overworld and hoping that we break through somewhere else.
Yeah, well, here we go. Watch this. Guelph's got a blue dragon in the overworld. Oh, one-shot him. I was going to say Guelph's going to go 2 for 2 on this random blue dragon instead of the one in Hawk's Nest he really, really wants. But there's more proof that those blue dragons are tough. Even with Hurtmore, they just do damage so quickly. nycguy going to take on this wizard. But yeah, as you were mentioning, they are pretty much have found the same things. They've both explored and found the same locations. They both have kind of the same knowledge. So it's a matter of, do they both set out and explore? Does one decide to do a grind of some sort now versus later? Guelph is after something in the mountain cave. I wonder what that could be. Maybe a grind? Maybe he's got a gold grind on the mind.
Yeah, I mean, we did see the silver shield was for sale. I believe it was in Rimuldar. So.
Oh, did Ramulder have it? Got it. So Guelph is kind of tired of dying on the overworld and is looking for some defensive help to try to balance out that 37 HP.
Now, will the silver shield really offer that much support for Guelph?
So the two things with the silver shield, and it's kind of debatable if it's worth it or not. It does offer the most defense of a shield. It's plus 20 defense. The small shield he's currently got is plus 4. The only other shield in the game is the large shield at plus 10. So it does offer a defensive advantage, and that can be helpful. That'll help you take a little less damage for sure. There's people who have done the calculations and say like, oh, well, it's not that big a deal, only a little less damage. But another thing it'll let you do, I mean, when you have 37 HP, maybe even just a little less damage is better though. But the other thing it'll do is it'll obviously boost your defense power, and that's key because we're working with Repel on in dungeons. You can cast Repel in a dungeon. The normal game you can't, but we are working here with Repel on in dungeons. And so the higher defense is going to allow you to defense break more enemies, especially more Sharlock enemies when you get to there. So not only is the attack formula is all different, they hit for way less when you defense break them, but if you cast Repel, you won't even see them. So the Silver Shield will definitely help for that. It'll help get his defense high enough that he can repel those Sharlock enemies, and on his final dive, hopefully see less encounters. So that alone might make it worth it. But of course, it is the highest defensive shield in the game, so he'll take less damage throughout. But it's questionable if that matters when you have 41 HP. But it'll definitely help. And the nice thing about it, too, is it never gets replaced, right? You're going to eventually replace any sword you buy with Erdrick's sword, and the armor you buy with Erdrick's armor. That Silver Shield is there for the long haul, so you're going to get it the whole way at least, and I always like that, too.
Yeah, it's a good point. And we saw Guelph hit level 11, and it was pretty mediocre. It looked like 5, 4, 1, 2, so small gains everywhere.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is, at this point, and eventually they'll look at all the stats, right? But I think at this point, both runners are pretty much got their focus squarely on that HP number, and I'm sure Guelph is not thrilled to see that it only went up by 4, and now nycguy getting the news. And they're sitting on 41 HP, because I bet you they both want to run right back to that blue dragon, but on 41 HP? I don't think it's happening.
Yeah. So this is also pretty similar from my personal experience with DWRs, having to deal with a low HP seed. So it's kind of it's fun watching a couple of I guess you call them like old pros working with a less than optimal start stat wise. I mean, obviously gear wise is great.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the HP is certainly annoying, but at least our runners have had things that can help get around that. They've had Hurt More, they've had the sword. Oddly enough, Heal More doesn't seem to be helping much because I think too often we can get two-shot here. So you take a hit, and you heal more, and you take a hit, and you're back in danger. So you're like, great. So I think too many like big enemies still do some damage, do significant enough damage that Heal More doesn't quite help as much anymore. But obviously Heal More will help later. As nycguy, so Chad was mentioning nycguy hadn't seen Remolder yet. He goes and gets his gold out of the inn, and I wonder if when he checks the weapon shop, will he do the same thing that Guelph has done? Guelph definitely got that gold grind active, so you see again, he opened 8 treasure chests without stepping onto the overworld, so the array was full and the game doesn't know what to do, so it just leaves the chest there for you to take again, and Guelph is taking infinity gold from it. It'll probably stop a little short of infinity, probably right around 14.8 for that silver shield, but it could take infinity.
Yeah, when you got the time. It is one of my favorite things about this randomizer is the gold grind. I think it's a very neat little wrinkle to make to sort of overcome a little bit of the challenge of the bad luck that randomizers can often give you, finding these little manipulations.
Yeah, so fun fact, this is not actually added into the randomizer. This is actually in the vanilla game, and where's Beta Strep, I think, is the biggest, he always loves mentioning this one, that in the vanilla speedrun, if you speedrun the vanilla Dragon Warrior 1 game without RNG manipulation, You have to do a gold grind for, I believe it's a broadsword and a full plate, or maybe a broadsword and a half plate, something like that. And the speed run has you take gold out of that treasure chest for, I believe it's 20 to 30 minutes to afford all that.
Oh man.
So you can see that in the vanilla game, and if you watch a speed run, you can see a lot of that in a vanilla speed run, if you are so inclined. But it definitely helps in rando. The difference is in vanilla, that treasure chest only gives like 100 gold or something, so that's why it takes so long. In rando, the gold amounts have been increased, so that makes it a lot more helpful. So we're not sitting here waiting for like 20 to 30 minutes for our gold grinds. You see, and Guelph got his done in like a couple minutes, and nycguy, by the way, in Mountain Cave do the same thing. So he'll get his gold grind done. Thankfully, we don't have to watch him take that treasure chest for 20 minutes. Oh, Mike, is it like 10? Is it that bad? Man, I forgot I'm so spoiled by randomizer values. It's only like 10 gold in vanilla. Oof.
And Guelph just found out about the heal more on the green dragon and just immediately just ran away from that fight.
Yeah, definitely. I don't blame him, because his big goal here is to try to get to a silver shield, because he's still carrying all that money. He's gonna pop into here. Don't buy the flame sword, okay? I was worried a little bit. We've all done that, but I was worried. Don't buy the flame sword. I'm sure he knows he saw the silver shield, and so he'll just move on to Remulder. Maybe he just forgot where he saw it, but he'll move on and he'll find his silver shield. But yeah, that makes sense. You find a green dragon and think like, oh sure, well let's just hurt more of this on my way to the silver shield, and then he pops up with heal more. It's like, don't need to be taking any risk when you're carrying that kind of money around. And that one, Guelph's Axe Knight fight went much more to script. Like, oh, here's an easy enemy to hurt more, and he hurt more'd it, killed it, collected his experience, and now he's in Remulder for the silver shield. So the green dragon was supposed to go that way, but didn't. But the Axe Knight was more accommodating.
Yep, and there's the silver shield get for Guelph, as nycguy is going to do his gold grind now.
Yep, there he goes. He's got it. He's got it active. The thing I always loved. I mean, I'm sure he knew where it was, and he just needed to open more treasure chests to activate it. But the thing I always loved about 2 gold chests is if you mess up one, you got a backup. So, but I'm sure he knew where it was. He had to open all but one to get to his 8 treasure chests. But I always loved having multiple gold chests just in case I messed up where they were. I'm like, oh, let me go get that other one now. So Mike's saying the treasure chest in vanilla are 6 to 13. Oof, so thank goodness we don't have that going on here. Yeah, that's something that, like I said, I was spoiled by the randomizer. There are definitely little changes to the randomizer, like the gold chests give more gold. The enemy values, experience and gold values are different. You go back and look at... Man, I don't know how we ever played the original game where a metal slime would give you, I think it's like 115. We're so used to like hurt mooring Axe Knights and picking up 130 and like, oh, hurt more only 130. And I think in vanilla, Axe Knight is something ridiculous, like, isn't it like 55 or something awful like that? And we play with like 75% experience requirement. So the experience is higher that you need to level, and the enemies give less. So definitely a couple of quality of life improvements made there with the increased the experience in gold, both from enemies and from those treasure chests.
And we saw Guelph with that silver shield equipped was able to take a punch from a red dragon, but unable to get away with the second run, and could not survive 2 punches.
Classic. Buy a big piece of defensive gear, and some evil Sharlock enemy's like, I don't care. But yeah, Guelph, didn't really buy that for a red dragon. Red dragons are still going to be really scary for us regardless of what we have because of the 41 HP. But things like, right here, the Demon Knight, or, he's defense breaking, up to Rogue Scorpion. So if he were to cast Repel, he wouldn't see anything below a Rogue Scorpion. That could maybe help him move things along. But you see there, geez. There's a perfect illustration of how tough 41 HP is. With 102 attack power, 66 defense, the Demon Knight is uninterested and smacks him back to the castle.
Yeah, that feels real bad to have the excellent move be dodged.
That's always going to feel bad. At least it's a Demon Knight. The Demon Knight's dodge rate is something absurd. Like, I want to say 1 in 4 almost. It might actually be 1 in 4. So I always feel a little less bad when it's a Demon Knight. I feel really annoyed when it's something like, I don't know, what has a terrible dodge rate? You know, something like a Stone Man or something like that. Can they even dodge? I don't know. Something with a really low dodge rate. But at least Demon Knights, when they dodge, I'm like, well, 1 in 4. But...
Sure. And Guelph, gonna go for it.
All right. Well, the Silver Shield, you know, probably will up his defense enough to where he can get 3 chances out of it. So 3 50-50s. He needs to hit 2 of them. Maybe he can get a 4th off. I think that's probably pretty optimistic. He get a 4th attack. But he can also try for the first hurt more, and if he misses, try to run. The agility's pretty high, so that's an option as well. Oh, he hits the first one. He's not going to get another chance, though.
Oh, no, and they got the big breath.
Ooh, well, that's a problem. So we hadn't seen that before, and that means they can get one shot pretty quickly. So if the armor's under there, that's very cruel from Randomizer, because there's that Dragon Lord 2 breath that'll deal a ton of damage to you unless you have that armor. And if the armor's underneath them... The armor you need to survive the breath is past the enemy that has the breath. Cool.
Just gotta get lucky.
Yeah, the good news is we've seen a lot of blue dragons. That's the first look we've seen at DL2 breaths. There you go, our tracker, Mike's got it up here. They're only 25% DL2, so you could still hope to get lucky with the 2 hurt mores, but... Ooh, that's a long way to walk to just get her breath back to the castle.
And we're now about 36 minutes in, and both runners are within like 20 XP of each other. It's crazy, because I think we're both settling into grinds now.
They are, yeah. I was wondering if one would go out and explore, but that low HP has kind of both of them worried. nycguy found a nice zone here. Well, he's got these blue dragons, which he has not seen the DL2 breath yet, so I'm curious if he's going to stick in this zone once he sees that. But he's had a mountain zone, mountains again with the highest encounter rate, that had Axe Knights, and Axe Knights are great for hurt mooring, right? They oftentimes die to 1 hurt more, hand over their 130 experience, continue on your way. But those blue dragons just got a lot deadlier from nycguy's perspective. So I wonder if he goes back to that same zone and maybe he'll just run from the blue dragons, or if he finds another zone. You see Guelph has sort of settled into this mountain cave zone where he's got werewolves and wraith knights and some other stuff I haven't noticed yet that are pretty good experience, pretty easy to hurt more out of the way. So we'll see if nycguy braves those blue dragons to get at those axe knights that he wants.
It's a 1-3-6-4 level up for Guelph, so still not a bunch of HP.
Yeah, I mean, 47 is obviously better than 41, but I bet both of our runners' aspirations of an early Hawksness have been taken away by seeing that DL2 breath. That really complicates things. If the Blue Dragons didn't have that, maybe we might see Guelph trying again with 47 HP, but again, 1 Dragon Lord breath from that Blue Dragon and see you later.
Right. We haven't seen what... I don't believe we've seen what's west of Hawksness, like... And... I mean... So you continue exploring. What could be like the next best thing like around the corner for our runners here that we're just missing off screen?
Oh, well, both the runners are looking for the Erdrick's armor. That's kind of the big urgent thing. They
like
still need the silver harp. They still need a token. Location-wise, we'd probably be wanting to see either Canton to get the coordinates for the overworld. That's got a possibility to have your quest items, your Erdrick's armor, or the other big one is the Garen's grave that'll have 5 treasure chests in it. I kind of like going to look for that stuff. I get the idea of a mid-game grind, but I feel like with Hurt More, I feel like with Heal More, there's enough survivability that you can maybe kill stuff on your way. The mid-grind, I could understand if you wanted to try to grind a few levels, then go right back to Hawksness and kill that Guardian, hope for an armor there. But I think that blue dragon's not going anywhere for a while. So I think maybe I would go try to complete all the other errands. We don't even know if there's anything in Hawksness, by the way. We could go
It's
through all
fair.
this effort to kill the blue dragon, and nothing shows up there. So I think I would like to move on, and I wonder if, well, we'll see. Both are refilling their resources, so we'll see if anyone does decide to move on. But I think there's enough we can do that we can probably gain some experience while wandering around. But also, you never know, right? Like, NYC Guy's found a zone with Axe Knights that he knows is going to give him experience. Guelph found a zone with Werewolves and Wraith Knights he knows is going to give him experience. So, I definitely could see either way. But I would be really tempted to explore around and see if I could finish all the rest of the homework. And looks like Guelph is on the way. Maybe.
I hope. Oh, that's a big swamp, though.
Jeez, that is a massive swamp, isn't it? Look, right on the other side is a brand new town. There's also, I didn't mention it before, too, Garenham, which could actually, it has a cave in the back, it's got 3 treasure chests in the back, and that could house Garen's grave. But we don't have Garenham here, we have Canton. So Guelph will be able to go check the check behind the door, go talk to the old man, and see what the coordinates are like, and maybe get an armor or a quest item. This is where things could turn quickly if, now it's a bunch of ifs, but if there are coordinates, P.S. we don't know if they're coordinates even, we'll find out in a second. If there are coordinates, if Guelph can get to them easily, if they lead to the armor, that could be a huge advantage for Guelph. So this could be where exploration ends up winning out. Of course, not that NYC Guy would have any way of knowing that. Of course, the reverse is true too. NYC Guy could build a big experience lead and just wander through the rest of the world and collect everything real fast. So we'll have to see which one works out here.
Oh, that looks pretty doable. 24 south and 18 west.
Yeah, and just thinking about the map and how it looks, I don't think there's any major things in the way. I think they can walk pretty much directly there. Guelph is going to hold his position, it looks like. He wants to continue exploring past Canton. There are coordinates there. There's a very good chance that there's an item they need, either the harp, the token, or the Erdrick's armor. There is the possibility that is going to lead to the fairy flute, though, which is less important, less urgent, less needed. Arguably not needed at all. So we don't know where golems could be, right? But definitely our runners don't want to find that there. So 3 items. It's got to be one of those 4 items. 3 items we'd like to find. 1 item we wouldn't. But Guelph looks like he wants to keep exploring, maybe hoping for, as mentioned, Garenham or Garen's grave for more chests.
Or once more into Hawksness. I think this kind of makes sense. If we can get through with our little bit extra HP, but we also, it's a death warp, right? If we don't get through, and if we get through, it's great. So maybe.
Yeah, it's exactly right. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize how those connect together. I didn't realize that Canton was that close to Hawksness. But yeah, absolutely makes sense. Why death warp out of Canton if you can try this blue dragon? Maybe you get lucky and you get 2 hurt mores off and they both hit. If not, well, there's your death warp right there. So yeah, that definitely makes sense. NYC Guy going to give it a try as well. With that extra HP. He doesn't have the coordinates, but he's thinking the same thing. Maybe I can hit 2 hurt mores. And Guelph gets the first. He's got his 50-50. Oh, got them both. So there you go. So we'll see if that gets him the token.
It's fine. We need that.
We do need that. That was definitely not the 1 out of 4 items that Guelph was hoping for. But we do need that. We do need that.
And we know that NYC Guy is going to have to deal with that tile eventually now. And he can't just like gamble and just say, I'll try this eventually later. But so we know that NYC Guy will need to clear that hurdle at some point.
Yep, and the token, I want to say it's not super urgent, but depending on what's on this overworld here, it might be a really big deal. Guelph is about to, well, you can see him counting out the coordinates, and he's going to get either the harp, the Erdrick's armor, or the fairy flute. And if it's the harp, he is all ready to go for his trade-in. So if the 2 trade-in caves are really far away, Guelph might be able to do all the trade-ins at once, whereas if NYC Guy doesn't get the token early, he might have to go find them, come back, go back out to them. So the token's not super urgent, but Guelph is probably, happy he's got it. And NYC guy, I'm sure he's gonna, try to. He looks like he's camping out here, leveling up, and gonna try to kill that blue dragon before he moves on. Guelph nearing the end of his count, just has to go across a little bay right there, and it's got his reference, and just off by, looks like maybe 1 or 2. That or the old man led him to a dragon. That'd be kind of mean.
Do we have dragons on search tiles yet in the randomizer? Is that a thing?
Not yet. I feel like we don't need to give Randomizer more ways of making the evil to us. Guelph tries a couple hurt mores, then he goes for the attack hurt more, which is a guaranteed kill. There we go. And let's see what we've got for. He's going to heal up. Meanwhile, NYC guy's going to pick up 13.
Wow. Wow.
There it is, the armor.
It's huge.
That is pretty huge. So this is, this is the exploring versus the grinding. NYC guy, of course, doesn't know it, but he's banking on Hawksness having a really important item, whereas Guelph went to explore, and right across that swamp, just a little west where NYC guy is, turned out to be the directions of the armor. So if NYC guy sets off, maybe he's gotten the level, he just got 13, yeah. Maybe he'll set off and explore and see that and be right behind on his armor track, but kind of unfortunate for NYC guy. Oh, there he goes. But yeah, kind of unfortunate he picked grind when it looked like the correct answer was explore. Not that you ever know, though.
Yeah, it's one of those things. And there's Guelph's level 13.
With, I believe, what was it, 3 or 4 extra HP? We were at 47 before or something?
Yeah.
Hooray. 51 magical HP. But NYC guy has spotted Canton. Ooh, the golem killed him.
The exact damage, too.
Yeah, that's annoying, but he's seen the town. I imagine he's going to bolt right back to it. It's not super far away. Unfortunately, it's going to delay him getting to his coordinates and delay him getting to his armor a little bit, so this gives Guelph a few extra minutes to use that armor to his advantage. You can see he's caught up in experience, and almost caught up in experience, and of course he's going to run out and start looking around for his last thing that he needs, the silver harp and the trading caves.
Yep, and we still got to find Sharlock too. After all this, 46 minutes in, we still haven't found the final dungeon.
Well, we also have to find Breckenary, right? Do we want to find Breckenary?
Sure. Get that 100%
Breckenary
completion.
gets a bad rap, and deservedly so. But I think what our runners are really hoping, Sharlock is probably way out there somewhere, maybe even across from across Swamp Cave, which, by the way, we haven't seen yet. And I think our runners are just going to hope one of those two towns is nearby Sharlock, so they don't have to make a super long walk before getting to before going for the Dragon Lord. So even if Breckenary is not needed, if it's right next to Sharlock, I mean, we'll be happy. NYC guy has made it back to the town safely this time, made it back to Canton this time, so he's going to do a couple errands, and he'll definitely go check out the coordinates. I'm betting he's going to count them off pretty much right away, and he'll have his armor in just a second. We see Guelph is roaming the world hunting for Garenham, Garen's Grave, the 2 trading caves, and Sharlock, just to finish up his exploration.
I was today years old that I learned that you could buy keys in Canton.
You can. I feel like they're always last-ditch desperation. That guy charges a lot, man. I even if I bring my coupon, he won't redeem it or anything. Yeah, it's the most expensive key, and it's behind. Yeah, you need to spend it. Well, you have to spend a key to get the key, to get to the key shop, but usually not worth it unless you're running low on keys. So. But yes, there's that shop in there, and there's the key shop as well. And Guelph has what he's hoping is Garenham. He's going to take out a random Axe Knight first, though. And it is Garenham, so he's going to be able to get 3 chests out of the back of Garenham, and he's going to be able to explore whatever cave is there. Could be Swamp Cave. I almost want to say it probably is Swamp Cave, because I feel like main Canton is starting to close up here. But maybe Swamp Cave's off somewhere else in a little corner somewhere. It could be one of the 2 trading caves, or it could be the grave with 5 more treasures. But first, he's going to see what these 3 treasures are. some gold, some empty, and some not harp. So he's basically just looking for the harp, and we did not find the harp in any one of those treasure chests, so it's onward to the next thing, to the next cave back here. NYC guy, meanwhile, has the coordinates and is going to start the walk, so he'll have his Erdrick's armor shortly. And the Jerk Cave was behind Garanham. So Jerk Cave is where you, once you have all three items, the Staff of Rain, the Stones of Sunlight, and the Erdrick's Token, you can take them there to get the Rainbow Drop. Unfortunately for Guelph, he does not have the harp, and he does not have the harp traded in, so unable to do anything with the Rainbow Drop Cave yet. But he knows where it is, at least, once he has those items. Guelph going for the Blue Dragon. I wonder if he's got a different direction he wants to go explore. You know, Blue Dragons are kind of mean in this seed. But in addition, I just feel like with Healmore and Erdrick's Sword, and we can find easier sources of experience. So I wonder if that was an intentional death, and he's going to go explore some other direction, because I feel like there's no need to really take on Blue Dragons at the moment. But if he wanted to be back at the castle, and maybe it looks like he might be wandering off. Oh no, he's heading this. Oh, you have to head in the same direction.
Yeah.
We'll see if he's gonna wander off in a different direction, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if we've seen south of Hawksness, well, southwest of Hawksness, so south of Canton, where that big swamp is. We've seen Guelph go north, and it just sort of continues on, and that's where we found Garanham, but not south. So, I mean, it could just be another shore. I'm not sure exactly where you can start figuring out where the edges of the overworld map are.
Yeah, I just I missed him seeing the coast off to the east of where he was, so I wasn't sure if that was an intentional death warp or not. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's no real way to know other than just if it looks like it's gonna close up or not. And there've been plenty of times where I'm walking along like, this is gonna dead end. This is gonna end, and it like opens up into all the things you could ever want. And I was like, oh, well, it didn't dead end, did it? So, yeah, even just that little path right there might lead to all the things we're looking for.
Yep, and he's gonna continue back the way he was.
NYC guys, just a little, there we go, just a little south of his armor. I think he's got to go over to the left just a couple squares. Oh, this is the worst when you know you're right there and you start doing the spiral pattern, but he's one away. I think he's going to walk up and he'll have it. Oh, up again. All right, there's only so many squares. You got this. You got this. There we go. There we go.
So that's
Mike pointed out in chat that an encounter kind of threw off his count, but he got in the area, did a little spiral pattern. At least that was nice. It was on a little peninsula, so there's really so many squares to check. It's always on the last square you look. Yeah, so Guelph looks like he's headed back to the north and back in the Garanham direction.
Right.
Yeah, that's gonna be our friendly Brecconary, I believe. Yep, see you later. And that's actually kind of unfortunate because that means wherever Sharlock is in the world, there's no rest stop nearby it. So that's sort of, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's a little annoying. I'm sure our runners will be glad to have the Silver Shield and be repelling a lot more enemies by the time they get to their final dive. But man, it's gonna be a walk from probably Brecconary to wherever the heck Sharlock is.
Yeah. This map just keeps going for Guelph.
Yeah, for Guelph and for NYC guy, he's I think he is.
They're out in the weeds now.
Yeah, he's down in the. I think I missed where he went. Did he go to the south portion? Either way, he's found a new little area too that looks like it's got nothing. So all the towns kind of located nearby. Oh, there's Sharlock, and the grave is right near it. So that's kind of ominous. The grave is right next to Sharlock. Right, so Guelph is going to hope that the harp is here. We have kind of, I want to say we can kind of do this perfectly here because I believe these are the last 5 places the harp could be. So you just keep diving the grave until you get the harp. NYC guy finding a dragon scale, he can equip that for +2 defense, so not super important, but we'll take it. Gold, and
Hey,
the harp
alright.
is right there. So we won't see either one of our runners dive the bottom of the grave. Guelph is just... I thought he was about to dive the bottom of the grave and prove me wrong. Guelph is just needing the harp cave, and then he knows where to redeem everything. And yeah, NYC guy into Breckenary. Oh, he must have cut across before he saw Garanham. That could actually work in his favor
Yeah.
a little bit, because you want to find Garanham, as it turns out, last. Once you have all the things turned in and everything. So finding Garanham last actually will be good for him, save him a touch of time. Now that Guelph has all the quest items he needs, he is now hunting for the Silver Harp trade-in. The Silver Harp must be traded in for the Staff of Rain first before you can go trade in for the Rainbow Drop. So, oh, and there you go. Right in the middle of some swamp is the Harp Cave. Wait, what is this?
Is the back of swamp.
Swamp, right. I forgot about that, right. So maybe Harp Cave's over on Swamp Continent. Geez, this could be quite a trek to get to this Harp traded in. Oh, and Mike bringing up a good point, too, that NYC guy has not managed to kill that blue dragon yet. I guess that could still work out, though. If he gets the harp and gets the harp traded in, there's Harp Trade-In Cave right there, then he could go back home, get the token from the blue dragon on his way to Garanham, possibly. So there's a routing that could still work here for NYC guy.
Absolutely.
But yeah, he might think that the token is back behind Garanham, for sure. And, as Mike said, he might dive the grave looking for it, too. Yeah, we saw both of our runners going after that blue dragon a lot, so I had totally forgotten that NYC guy hadn't been able to make it happen yet.
See, that's pretty good for Guelph, like, to just come through the swamp cave and immediately, like, on the same screen have the turn-in cave, and just... He knows where everything is, he can just kind of start... I guess looking for levels, because our HP is still pretty bad.
Yeah, so what he's gonna do is he's gonna go check out the spike tile here in Swamp, I bet. The problem is Swamp Cave isn't really close to anything. Breckenary's the closest thing, and that's like forever away. So maybe he can get a couple, he can maybe finish off level 14 on whatever monsters here, but there's no real good place to refill around here. So this is, the grind's definitely gonna come down to our runners, having paid attention and finding some good overworld grinds, because I don't think either spike tile grind is gonna work out. But that was a really good exploration run from Guelph. He was able to get the harp and get the harp traded in. And as you point out, yeah, he knows where to get the rainbow drop from, and that's right on the way. You have to pass by Garanham to get to Sharlock, so it's right back on the way for him. He can just do that, on his way to the Sharlock at the end. But yeah, now it's just a matter of what overworld spot do you want to grind? Because Guelph is going to kill a couple of these armored knights, but no power. Well, he got some HP anyway.
Yeah,
but yeah, you can't.
It's something.
It's something, yeah. It's still, well, definitely not enough. 67 is certainly not enough to dive with. Neither is 104 attack power, so we're not talking about ghost stats by any means yet, but it's something.
And NYC guy's now found the Sharlock area, and if he keeps plugging around down here, he's gonna find the there it is, the swamp cave for him.
Ooh, did NYC guy did go into the grave though, right?
No, I don't think so. I think he just blew right past it.
Ooh,
maybe took note of what it was.
Yeah, so maybe he'll walk. Maybe when he walks out to the other side, he'll he's gonna have to go back then, huh? There's kind of no way around it. He's gonna see Harp Cave, and he's gonna have to go back looking for the harp out of the grave. All right, so he's got Harp Cave. Yeah, this is kind of nice for both of our runners that Harp Cave is right there. I think, NYC guy's still looking for Garanham though, so he might search this whole swamp thing looking for Garanham. Hopefully for his sake, it's not too big.
Yeah. It looks pretty contained. So this is good news for him.
Yeah, I'm like you mentioned a second ago, like having the Harp Cave be right outside of Swamp Cave was great for Guelph because he knew that was the last location, so he didn't have to mess around with all this. Let's search the entire Swamp Continent. Oh, there's a northern part too.
Okay, okay. My
Oh,
heart
it ended
also
though.
sank. My heart
All
also
right.
sank with the bridge.
Right. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. But yeah, it's nice when you have one location that just sort of pops up right on the other side of Swamp Continent. You don't have to go searching through another gigantic continent trying to find one little thing. So now he knows, and let's see if he goes back to the grave to collect his silver harp.
And we're gonna check
Mike,
that
bring
spike
up
tile.
Yeah, checking the spike tile, that makes sense. Good to know it's there, because again, he doesn't know where Garanham is yet, but we know it's way too far away. I wonder if Guelph is going to do this lengthy walk from Brecconary to Swamp over and over again. That could be really time-consuming. No, he's not. He's walking away.
Yeah. I think it was just a pit stop to replenish, and we're heading to turning all that stuff in the back of Garanham.
Okay. No problem doing it now. I was kind of imagining it'd be done on the trip to Charlock, but certainly no big deal doing it now. Guelph has got a red dragon, which he still can't really kill. Huh? They're still doing too much damage for us to really get an attack in. Yeah, if they roll low, we can attack, but boy, that's going to be a lot of resources to kill this guy.
Yeah, the upside is that Garanham's right there, so we can get through. It's like a preview of a Dragon Lore 2 fight.
Yeah, a really scary one, because
we
definitely can get two-shot here. There's no guarantee that we're getting by surviving 2 attacks.
And he definitely doesn't want to walk all the way back here. So, huge kill there for Guelph.
Yeah, once again, that HP just really still kind of handicapping us here, but got through that red dragon, and we'll see. He's going to turn his rainbow drop, but again, yeah, we're going to see where on the overworld he prefers for his grind, and that could end up making the difference, even though NYcguy needs to do some errands and go get the harp and go get the token and such. This could be a lengthy grind. HP's bad. The strength is not great. So this could be a lengthy grind, and if you find a better overworld zone than your opponent, that could catch you up really, really fast.
Yeah. Now, is it ever prudent to take like a walk and grind in Charlock?
Well, for that, we should ask the Dragon Warrior Master, Ferran Burgundy, who rated us. Thank you very much, Ferran. It depends. It's one of those. I think it's the same problem that Swamp Continent has, is that Swamp Continent tries to call you in the middle of a broadcast. No, leave me alone, Swamp Continent. I'm busy. No, it's the same problem that Swamp Cave had, is that it's just too far from anything. Like, it takes you so long to get out there, and you make a couple kills, and then you're dead, and you got to get back there. So Guelph is hanging out near Garanham, and nycguy looks like he is in the grave, so he's going to have his harp out of resources, though, so we'll see if he can make it back to get it traded in. But Guelph looks like he's exploring this overworld zone right outside of Garanham. Well, Ferran, I believe I called you the master of Dragon Warrior Randomizer, or at least the master of commentating Dragon Warrior Randomizer. That much is for sure. But thank you for the raid. We're kind of towards the end game here. Guelph has collected all the things and is trying to find a place to do some grinding. nycguy has the harp, and he is on his quest for the token. We know the token's way back in Hawksness, but he can, he'll pick that up in due time. He's about to find out that it has to be there. And you can see we've got a sort of glass cannon situation. We've got low HP, strength not great either, but low HP, and both spike tiles are unfavorable. The Hawksness spike tile has a particularly nasty blue dragon with DL2 breath, and the Swamp spike tile would be favorable. Nice little armored knight sitting there, except it's forever away from anything. So our runners are about to settle into an overworld grind, and we're about to see what they choose for their overworld grinding. That could make all the difference here. NYC guy looking like he's gonna take a Death Orb, maybe? He's playing the Silver Harp. If he wants a Death Orb, the problem here is he doesn't have anything that can waste a turn. Normally, you'd maybe use a Dragon Scale or a Fighter's Ring would waste a turn. You can maybe try to cast a useless spell, like Stop Spell or something like that, but he has no MP. You can use the Silver Harp, but you see every time he uses a Silver Harp, it takes several seconds, 8 or 9 seconds, to waste a turn. That's not great. So he finally decides to just destroy the Droll Magi, and for his trouble, he's given level 14, which you'll see pretty much just has HP.
And is Guelph gonna go for the blue D? The blue dragon here? If he can make it through the red one.
I wonder if maybe he's going after the surrounding enemies. Perhaps the red dragon is something he knows he can kill, and I'm trying to remember if we saw armored knights or axe knights in here, perhaps? Thought there was some version of knight in here, so maybe he's just decided that the surrounding world of Hawksness... Is it Magiwyverns? Okay. I was gonna say, I thought there was something else pretty good to hurt more in here, and so maybe he's just gonna go for, put up with the red dragons when they show up, kill the other stuff, and decide, this is close enough to home that a Death Warp is okay. Or he's gonna go right for the blue dragon. Admittedly, he has the armor now, so their DL2 breath will do less, but there you go. There's a hurt more and attack, so that's kind of got to be the game plan, right, is to hurt more and then hope to hurt more, attack him to death, but we're still taking a lot of damage from this guy.
Yikes.
And the hurt more only work half the time. Yeah, I get the spike tile and the spike tiles being faster and really wanting to find a spike tile, and sometimes I'll sit on a lousy stone man instead of, but just because it's a spike tile, but this is a tough one, man. This is a tough one. I think Guelph has figured out, though, that they're only 25% DL2 breaths. That might be factoring into his decision as well. Knowing that, I'm only likely to hit him, hurt more him how often, but if I land the hurt more, I'm pretty safe. It's close to a refill point, so that might be his thought process there. Alright, so Guelph has refilled. Might be interesting. Does he decide to stay in these mountains now that he's seen this Axe Knight? Maybe he didn't see it earlier. I can't remember if he saw Axe Knight specifically in these mountains, but I wonder if this changes his mind all of a sudden. Or maybe level 15 itself will change his mind. Let's find out. Level 15 is not going to be a mind changer, probably. The hit points are getting up there. The strength is a little sad.
Slow and steady. Like you want every race to be.
Well, we got the slow part under control anyway. The strength is such a weird little game, right? Because we haven't really worried much about strength. HP has always been the problem. Suddenly, HP is hanging around 81. Still too low for the Dragon Lord. Dragon Lord can still, even with the armor, breath us for 48. So ideally, we'd like to have 96 or 97 HP. But the strength is suddenly a problem. Dragon Lord math and such, we can get into that later on. But you want to be in we'll call it usually mid 120s to high 120s before you can really even think about going, depending on other stats, of course. And we're at 106, so yeah. That said, we've been pretty lax on the power lately, so hopefully I think our runners are hoping that there's like a 30 power level right around the corner, but that's about how far we're off right now, about 30 power, so we're going to need to find some power here.
And that's the kind of blue dragon fight that Guelph needs to see. Big, high hurt more roll, and then just a low attack from the dragon. And not the dragon breath.
Yeah, he gets the Dragon Breath again, so... Man, I don't know. This is... I mean, yeah, you get those fights where you hit the hurt more right away and you attack and you collect your 180 experience really fast, and you get just sort of disasters like this where you throw 3 hurt mores, you land 1, and we did survive, just barely.
Ooh. It's like poetry or rhymes, right?
Yeah, it's like poetry that costs you 23 MP if I remember all the spells he casts. So that one took a lot of resources. They might take 5, they might take 25. So it's definitely a very, very variable grind. Yeah, I believe Guelph is diving the grave, hoping that the token is there. Guelph knows that the token, all he needs to complete his little quest item collection. He also knows that that blue dragon is very, very horrible. So it does make sense that he would try to dive. Remember, we haven't seen Curse Belt number 3. It could be down here. It could be in Charlock somewhere. But he hasn't had any indication that Hawksness is guaranteed to have an item. Or, heck, even if it does, I guess it could be the Fairy Flute. So... yeah, it makes sense. You don't really want to see that blue dragon. You don't really want to deal with that blue dragon, so you hope your last thing you need is down here. But unfortunately, we know that there's not going to be anything to be found here. You can also sort of see that even though Guelph has a little tougher grind on his hands here with this blue dragon spike tile, just being able to dedicate to a grind versus nycguy having to explore around, the experience gap has suddenly widened to 2,200 experience. That's the other thing. That's the other argument for trying to get all the homework done quickly. If you get all the homework done and you get to your dedicated grind quicker, you can really start opening some experience gaps. So even if nycguy gets back to Hawksness, instantly kills that blue dragon, turns in all the stuff, he's still going to be facing that 2,200 experience gap because the exploration is just taking longer, and Guelph has been able to sit on this blue dragon, which isn't the fastest thing in the world, but it's faster than exploring is.
Yeah. Okay, maybe Guelph's gonna pivot here and instead just do this little Charlock overworld fights, and not in Charlock, I'm sorry, Hawksness.
Yeah, I kind of... oh, there's a wizard. Those are pretty nice for right now. I kind of like that. The red dragon's a little scary. Red dragon takes a little bit of resources, but you have more HP. Oh, the wizard has heal more. That's annoying. But I was going to say, Magi Wyverns are certainly nice. You can kill a red dragon if you need to. That's really annoying that wizard has heal more. Maybe you can stop spell him or something. But yeah, that blue dragon was tough. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with NYC here. I think he might be lost in the grave, perhaps, trying to get a Death Warp and just finding, like, Drakeys and stuff. Because, yeah, Mike pointing out, he's been in the grave for a while with no MP, and so he can't Outside, he can't Radiant, and so maybe he got lost somewhere along the way, and nothing will kill him. Maybe he has to sit here and, harp his way out of this. Ugh, he's defense breaking that Droll Magi, so it was going to take a bit. Oh, did he get the last chest? Or the 4th chest? Oh, so he got all the treasure chests, but he just can't get out of here is the idea. I was going to say, I missed what the treasure chests were, but we also know that they were nothing exciting.
Yeah.
They couldn't have been anything exciting, so... It's like Guelph is back to his little blue dragon friend, and he, I mean... As much as I'm saying this is a tough grind, he's actually pretty rapidly approaching 16. 16 is 9750, so this will put him within 1,000 experience of that level 16.
Yeah, he just can't get these hurt mores to stick with any sort of consistency.
Right, that's what makes it so tough. If this was a, if you could be guaranteed your hurt more is going to hit, that would be one thing, but you got to run the 50-50 chance, and I mean, anyone who's played Dragon Warrior 3 or 4 knows all about the Vivify game and what 50% means to these games. And it's not exactly the traditional definition, we'll say. But he does get this one killed, so there's another 180 for him.
Yeah, I gotta think it's way too much of a resource strain to try and get these blue dragons down consistently, but we're gonna give it one more shot.
It is the one thing that this has going for it, and I certainly understand Guelph's, thinking here, is that there is a place to refill. Remulder, I think it's Remulder, is very close to here.
Yeah.
And with the spike tile, you guarantee yourself the encounter. If something like this happens, where the blue dragon kills you, you can walk out and walk back there relatively quickly. So I get all those things, but man, that gets to be such a tough encounter sometimes, though, if your Hurtmore just won't agree with you.
Yeah, and it looks like nycguy is finally going to be released from this cave. Finally.
Ooh, he's gonna finally kill himself with music. Oh no!
The low roll.
Oh, well, wait for it. He's defense breaking the Droll Magi, so the Droll Magi could miss entirely. I have bad feelings it's going to lead to, he's going to have 1 HP and the Droll Magi is going to miss. That's exactly what this randomizer would do.
I got excited because the Droll Magi did hit. Yeah, there it goes. Hit for 7 earlier, so.
Hey, there we go. You helped, Droll Magi. You helped.
Wow. If you're nycguy, you've got to just be kind of pulling your hair out after that.
Yeah, he knows that's not a quick death warp. I would guess that's gonna he's gonna check Hawksness on the way and try to kill the blue dragon in Hawksness and collect the token. He knows that's where it has to be now, and he'll have to unfortunately make that long walk back to Swamp Cave, which is way back by Sharlock in the Grave, to turn in the Harp. And he still hasn't found Garanham yet, unfortunately. So hopefully he sees that on his way back.
Just a turn of events.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say, okay, he is going to Hawks. I was going to say he technically doesn't know it's here. It could be, from his point of view, it could be in Garanham still. But it looks like he is going to this Blue Dragon. 67 HP should be enough for him to land 2 Hurtmores and get his token.
Oh no.
He's got the heal more, and the nice thing about this, like I was just saying with Guelph, is even if something bad happens, it's definitely a risky fight, but if something bad happens, it's pretty close to the castle, so, you can be maybe a little more aggressive with it. You can maybe take some chances, because the worst thing that'll happen is you'll be facing a 20-second walk back here or so. But I think nycguy landed 1 Hurtmore, right? Just needs to land 1 more?
Yep. This should do it.
Alright, so he's got his token, he's got all of his quest items. He did see Harp Cave, so he knows where it is. So I'm guessing he's going to probably make a run for Harp Cave, and then hopefully see Garanham on the way.
Yeah, it wasn't too far off the beaten path there. He would have to go north a little bit more before he cuts east, where we found Sharlock in the Swamp Cave and the Harp turn-in. I'm sorry, not the Harp turn-in, but the Rainbow Drop turn-in.
Right, and maybe, ideally, even if he sees it, he should proceed right on to Harp Cave, because at this point he knows that he's got all of his items he needs, and I believe the only cave he hasn't seen is the Rainbow Drop Cave, so I believe he knows by proselytization that it has to be the Rainbow Drop Cave in the back of Garanham. So if he just spots it, he can leave it for the time being, but if he just spots it and knows where it is, that would be a big help.
One thing I'm picking up here, Ryguy, is how beneficial the repel spell is. It's something I didn't. I guess I kind of took for granted, and I was just like, it's fine. But
tricky. It's very tricky. I remember thinking the same sort of thing, repel is the greatest spell ever, and then you play a few of these permanent repel flags that are lurking out there, and you realize repel can be a handful sometimes, because sometimes you just can't kill anything that you're repelling, that you're not repelling, I mean. But yes, in a situation like this, where you have Erdrick's Sword, you've had a lot of attack power for a while, you have Hurtmore, repel is a huge thing, because look, with Hurtmore, with 104 attack power, 104 attack power is not enough to kill the Dragon Lord, but I'm not looking for Slimes and Drakies with 104 attack power. I'm not looking for a Drakemo when I'm sitting with Hurtmore, right? So to get those things off the screen, and maybe it doesn't seem like a lot, how long does it take to run away, but you start adding up all those little encounters, you start taking all those away, and it saves a lot of time. So yes, when you have the ability to kill things quickly like we do here, Repel is huge.
And speaking of pretty good things, Guelph took another level there and got some more stat gains. You know, nothing really to write home about, but we filled out the spell list. I think it was like 8, 9, and 7 we got.
Yeah, that was a decent little level, right? HP is sort of borderline-ish. We could maybe be okay with that. Attack power got better. We still need more of it. MP was a pretty nice one there. We now have 11 heal mores instead of 10. So certainly a nice little level there, but we still need more.
Mm-hmm. And nycguy on the right track, and that has eyes on Garanham now. But
all right, so he's seen Garanham. He's gonna go in and explore it, which again, I think he's seen everything except for the Rainbow Drop Cave, but still, it won't take him too long to check the 3 chests back here and just verify that it is Rainbow Drop Cave. And then he can go trade in his harp and come back here for his Rainbow Drop and be on his dedicated grinds.
Or he just was pit stop. I guess he knows that information and it's like, all right, I just need some MP and I'm back on my horse.
Oh, he was on low resources. Okay. So, and I guess that's right. He knows that the Harp Cave is really far away, so he might have wanted to make sure he had max resources so he could get there. All right, that makes sense. And right, he does, I think, by cross-elimination, know it has to be Rainbow Drop back there, so that does make sense. He was just stopping off for a quick little pit stop.
This blue dragon, though, just doesn't want to let him go.
I could talk about the chances of running from a blue dragon with 77 agility, but I think we have a meme for that.
Oh no.
Apparently, the game believes there's 0. Ooh, this is the last thing you need. NYC, like you said, knows that he spent too much time death warping out of the grave and just wants to get to his harp, and this blue dragon's having none of it.
There we go, and now we gotta go back to Garanham to replenish all that MP that we wasted on those heal mores.
I like Guelph going outside the box there. I feel like I don't see people in that grind that part of Oxness too often, that little Z area or whatever, but he had a terrible encounter luck. Those desert tiles are supposed to be 1 and 8, and I think he had repel up, but I don't know. He's repelling a few things in Hawksness, but couldn't get those red dragons he's looking for, so back to the spike tile and the guaranteed blue dragon.
Not bad.
Guelph is looking to see if there's an animal suit. I think Guelph is going to make an animal suit out of these blue dragon hides at this rate. Dragon mail! It looks like Guelph has just given up entirely on the hurt more, and he's just hacking through. So the attack power high enough, and with heal more, with enough HP, he feels confident he can just slice through these blue dragons. That'll definitely help if he can slice through them and doesn't have to rely on that 50% hurt more. That's definitely going to be a faster grind.
Yeah, it looks like he's getting it done in like 3 rounds.
The blue dragon has heal.
Yeah, when they're not casting heal.
Is actually in a weird way helpful because they won't spend their time attacking you or DL2 breathing you, and he does have the attack power to outdamage the heal, so that's actually kind of useful for attacking through. If you can get them in their heal range, they'll waste time healing and you just keep hacking their HP down.
And speaking of blue dragons wasting time, nycguy hits the blue dragon, the tile outside of the harp turn-in.
Well, that's the grave, right? He's still got to go across swamp to get to the harp turn-in.
That's right, you're right. Man. Talk about just awful,
Oh, yep, he mixed up the caves. He went in there thinking that swamp cave. He cast outside, get the other edge of it, and I think he just realized that was the wrong one. So he's going to walk around Swamp Cave, fortunately right in this same area. Yeah. He's going to walk around to Swamp Cave and then outside and then trade in his harp real quick.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, I totally had the caves messed up in my mind too, so...
Yeah, they're right next to each other, so it's an easy mistake to make, but also easy to fix too. You just walk to the other one, just a quick walk, and here he is. He's got his harp traded in. unfortunately for nycguy, I think at this point he's going to need something disastrous to happen on a Guelph dive. I was going to say, like, if these blue dragons kept giving Guelph trouble, and if nycguy found maybe an Axe Knight zone somewhere, or knew of an Axe Knight zone somewhere, he could have maybe caught up, but this is ballooned to, what is it, 4,500 experience? That's going to be tough to catch up with on your own. So this is looking like something tragic is going to happen to Guelph on his dive for nycguy to level this here. Speaking of Guelph and his experience, he's looking for 12,000 even for 17. Still want a little more HP, still want a lot more strength. Obviously, we'll take all the stats if they're given to us, but the big ones we're looking for are a touch of HP, but strength is the real big concern. If you have 91 MP, you're probably looking at wanting your strength to be somewhere in the low 130s. So, sorry, your attack power to be somewhere in the low 130s, and we are very short of that. So, hopefully we can get some more power on this next level is what Guelph's really looking for. It was mentioned earlier, too, that our runners don't get return until late. You can see nycguy on 14 does not have return. So he doesn't really want to be here, so he's trying to get this golem to kill him. That's the only way they can get back to the castle right now is with Death Warp. So, of course, we wouldn't be able to cast Return out of the grave anyway, but even here after trading in the Harp, nycguy doesn't want to walk all the way back, and he needs something to kill him in order to get back to the castle. And even the golem decided to give him some trouble with the Death Warp. Guelph, nycguy not having a great time with Death Warps tonight, but eventually the golem takes him out, and he can go on his dedicated grind. Meanwhile, Guelph is one blue dragon away from finding out if 17 is enough. Spoiler alert, he's hoping it is, we're probably hoping it is, but it probably won't be. Hopefully that's a reverse curse. Alright, he gets the blue dragon down. The first number is going to be pretty telling here. And nope. Nope. Good HP. Little more on the MP side. We got another heal more out of it, but 118 attack power is not going to be a thing we're going to be attacking the Dragon Lord with. So it's onwards to 18 for Guelph. Guelph is going to be looking for 14,250 experience. So we are going to see a little bit of a divergence in the grind here. Guelph hanging out with that blue dragon. nycguy, understandably not wanting anything to do with that blue dragon, is off to... Oh, maybe he's just off to turn his rainbow drop, but... we'll see if maybe he finds a nice grind zone along the way. I know earlier he was grinding those Axe Knights in the mountains with Hurtmore, so maybe he sticks with that. Velu bringing up a good point in chat. We saw the Death Necklace earlier when our runners both discovered Cole pretty early on. The Death Necklace, in the vanilla game, will just curse you and do nothing else, but in Randomizer, it has an added effect. In exchange, it'll take away 25% of your hit points, but it will add 10 attack power to your, to your attack power. So if you have a lot of HP and not enough attack power, not enough strength, you can throw the Death Necklace on at the Dragon Lord to get 10 more HP in exchange for a quarter of your HP. However, in order for that to work out, in order if you have enough HP left over afterwards to survive the Dragon Lord, you typically want 130 HP. Not really close to that. So even though both runners do have the Death Necklace, yeah, probably not going to see it used.
But we're getting there.
Slowly but surely. One blue dragon at a time. One slow... Actually, Guelph is getting these blue dragons killed pretty quickly. He's about to cross over the 13,000 experience mark on his way to 14,250. So now that he's got the attack power, he's got the HP, he can survive a few of these DL2 breaths when they do show up. He's making this blue dragon grind work out. And we see NYC guy hopping out right outside Garenham, finishing up level 15. Takes what I'm assuming is a very sad look at his stat screen and continues grinding on. It's always sad when you have all the things and you're thinking like, oh, is it go time? And you open up your stat screen and you see a 106 attack power. And it's like, oof, well, nope.
It's no time.
It's time to get grinding. So we'll see where NYC guy's off to. We'll see if he chooses that same grind that Guelph has or tries a different one. Again, if he tries a different one, maybe he could catch up a little bit, but not... Ooh, it's ballooned to 5,500 now. That's going to be tough. So he might catch up a little bit. If he goes to Hoxus and does the same thing, well, he's going to have a tougher time killing those blue dragons and obviously not, make progress, not close the experience gap. So I want to say, hopefully for our viewing, he picks something different so we can at least compare. Ooh, this desert doesn't look terrible.
Oh.
Desert with Axe Knights popping up a whole bunch. Maybe investigate here. It looks like he has something else on his mind. He might have a zone that he remembers from his exploration, or he might have a place he remembers from earlier on that he's heading towards. Guelph gonna go make a little pit stop here, but he has close to within 1,000 experience of level 17. So yeah, this blue dragon grind didn't look like the greatest thing in the world earlier on, but as the levels have moved along, it's proved to be pretty nice. Ooh, dueling dragons, a red and a blue. You would think the blue dragon would have heard from his friends about how scary Guelph is, but apparently this one wasn't listening. Ooh, or this one formulated a plan, because this one had Guelph down to 18 HP and dodge his excellent moves. This one had a plan. I don't think it's going to be enough for it, but this one came in with a pretty strong plan. But Guelph is not going to be interested, I don't believe. I think he's going to be a little sad he used so many resources on this blue dragon, but he's definitely going to get this blue dragon.
Yeah, I was surprised we didn't just pit stop back into the town and replenish those resources.
Yeah, maybe he's, well, I guess he's figuring he has plenty of heal mores to still kill a bunch, and he's only... I forget the exact numbers. Is he 5 or 6 away? He figures he can probably get 5 or 6 right to get the next level.
Yeah. And NYC guy found Hawkness and thought better of it. So I don't want to deal with blue dragons.
Yeah, so I wonder if maybe he's on the hunt for an overworld zone somewhere out there. He's back in the same area, so I wonder if there's a specific zone he's thinking of that maybe he's trying to relocate now. Ooh, I hope, much like with Guelph, I hope he's not walking towards Swamp Cave, because that... Ooh, that's such a long ways away. That's a tough grind to go that far.
Yeah.
But I know he was grinding right outside of Garenham for a little bit, so maybe he's going to find a spot out of Garenham or a spot right outside of Breckenary to do his grinding. They're both, there's some deserts outside of both.
Mm-hmm. There's Breckenary.
The spike tile enemy in Swamp is an armored knight, which would be great, except Breckenary is the closest town to Swamp Cave, and I kind of hope NYC guy isn't about to show us that it's not all that close. So that's the big problem with the spike tile in Swamp, is just so far away from anything. Oh, NYC guy's walking over that way.
We're doing it.
Now, he might have a different zone in mind somewhere else, but this is the direction of Swamp Cave, and you can see it's a little bit of a trek to get there.
Yeah, it is not a short walk by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah,
so this is the problem. This is the big problem with I wonder if he's gonna make. Well, even if he makes a turn here and throws a rainbow drop down, it's the same problem. As this is a long walk away from anything that's gonna heal you. So it's always tough when there's such a good spike tile grind and it's so far away. That's always so tough.
All right, here we go. Level 18.
All right, first number is gonna tell a lot again.
It's fine.
Not. It's close. Don't think we're gonna have enough.
Yeah, we're going to 19.
Yeah, 125 attack power. So if we want to do our Dragon Lord math, 125 attack power, you subtract 100 off because the Dragon Lord's just a jerk and has defense or something. And then you cut that number in half again to get your, cut the number in half to get your max roll. So we'd be looking at 25 divided by 2 as a max of 12, rounded down, of course. You cut that number in half again to get your minimum. So we'd be looking at a 6 to 12, average of 9. We'd have to swing somewhere between 17 and 19 times. And we are currently sitting on 12 heal mores. So 12 heal mores for 17 to 19 attacks does not work out. And Vale bringing up a good point that you could maybe try taking Fairy Waters in. Fairy Waters do a damage roll, do a damage range of, I believe it's 9 to 16. So with some Fairy Waters, maybe.
Literally throw in the kitchen sink.
The holy kitchen sink.
Yeah. Man, I'll tell you what, the all of my commentating experience, I was told to never do math on Twitch, but you guys have it down.
Oh, I had all those numbers on a piece of paper.
Oh, fair.
The math was done ahead of time, like those cooking shows where they pull the dish out and it's already done. Yeah, the math was pre-done. You don't have to worry about that.
You could have just took the compliment.
No, it's been in the oven for 3 hours. Trust me.
Yes, this is definitely not a different dish.
Don't ask me about any other attack power except 125s. Yeah, so I think some fairy waters would maybe get you a little bit closer, but yeah, Guelph. Well, first of all, doesn't have any in his inventory, I don't think, but also that's that's still cutting it awfully close. I think in Guelph's spot here, I think I'd rather pick up 19. Possibly pick up 19 on the way down and throw some, carry some Fairy Waters with me. That might be an option. 19 at 16,500 experience, though, so it is a bit of time to get to 19.
So, it's an hour and 36 minutes into this seed. It was a very generous, weapon start, and it hasn't been the most ideal for either runner. Where are you if you are nycguy? Where are you in your head? Do you feel as behind as a 7,000 XP is? Or do you think or do you hope that Guelph also hit the similar roadblocks?
So if I'm nycguy, I am definitely feeling like I'm behind, specifically because I dove the grave for nothing. And it took me forever to get out of the grave.
Yeah.
Also, he had a tough time death warping after the harp. He had to get the harp, then he had to die and go all the way back to get the harp traded in. And I would be worried that, actually, what Guelph did, I'd be worried that my opponent did that all in one fell swoop, and I lost a lot of time doing that. On Guelph's side, I feel like another reason why I might go to 19, and it's tough because you never want to, think you're ahead or anything, or, oh, I've got time, whatever, in a tournament race. But, you did get all, you got your harp trade-in all in one. You did not have to go down to the bottom of the grave. You had the token relatively early on with kind of a lucky common. I mean, it took him several tries to do it, but, he kind of got that at an early level where he had to get lucky. He maybe had 3 attacks and he got 2 hurt mores to land. So, if I'm Guelph, I'm feeling like maybe I have a little bit more time. If I'm nycguy, I definitely think I'm behind, just because of all the, return trips and grave stuff. If I'm Guelph, I think maybe I have a little bit more time, but again, you can kind of see Guelph loading up here, and he probably is going to stop into Brecconary for some Fairy Waters, and I wonder if he's going to try to get 19 on the way down. But if I were in these runners' shoes, I would definitely, as Guelph, feel more comfortable, but I don't know if I'd feel comfortable enough to take that extra level, especially in a tournament setting. You never want to assume, like, oh, I got time to spend, let's just do this.
Right,
You always
right.
want to try to get done as soon as possible, so.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it looks like Guelph is gonna make the move. And he's headed towards Bracken area, which is our last stop before... Oh no, maybe we're just gonna dig around in this desert, see if we can find some more Axe Knights.
Hey, Matthew, to answer your question, just kind of recap this for everybody. We had a pretty quick start. We had Hurtmore relatively early on, but we had started with the sword, so that helped. We started with the sword, we got Hurtmore, and we kind of just wrecked things for a while. A little bit of a hiccup. Blue dragons turned out to be very mean. They turned out to have Dragon Lord 2 Breath, and our runners had some low HP for a while, so that was a tough combo. So that presented a little bit of a hurdle. Oh, we see Guelph swinging by for the fairy water. And nycguy especially had a little bit of trouble finding specifically the silver harp and getting the silver harp traded in. That kind of set him back a little bit, and that honestly is most of the difference that we're seeing here. You know, a lot of, for the first maybe half hour or so, our runners were dead even in experience and had done the same exploration. It was ridiculously close.
Mm-hmm.
But then Guelph did a little bit of early exploration, a little earlier exploration, and found Canton and led to the armor a few minutes before nycguy, and he just kind of went on this little amazing trip to go get, Garanham taken care of, get the harp, trade in the harp, and unfortunately nycguy ran into a little more trouble doing all those things. So while he was finishing up those errands, Guelph was able to just grind blue dragons, which started off slow but proved to be really, really good. And he's picking up fairy waters now. Chat noting he sold the death necklace so he could hold one more fairy water. That's excellent. Having that extra fairy water, that extra strong attack. And I'm not sure he's going to get 19 on the way down. I think this might be... Oh, no, he will. Sorry. He's looking for, 16.5? Yeah, he's not that far away. I thought he was further away for some reason. He's not that far away. So I bet he's going to pick up 19 on the way down. Barely needs 1,000 for it. That's easy to pick up on the way down.
Yeah, we might...
And then, then, like you said, fling the kitchen sink at the Dragon Lord and see what happens.
So we might... I was surprised we didn't see him just kind of poke around in that desert a little bit more. You get a couple Axe Knights there, and you might get the level before you even go in. I don't know. How
it's a little. I guess it depends on if you're banking on, if you get a level that has a ton of MP, then it's sort of as annoying that you get that on the way down. But at this point we just need a little more attack, a little more of everything. So hopefully we'll get a little more of everything on the way down on 19. And yep, chat's got it. Fairy Water will do more damage. Currently, we're physicaling for 6 to 12, and Fairy Water's 9 to 16. But we are hoping that when we pick up level 19, we'll be physicaling for a little bit more. Yeah, exactly, Matt. 83 strength at level 18. It's funny because the strength was good for a while, and then right in the middle of the game, it just sort of bleh out. And 125 attack power is the main problem, which is why you saw Guelph pick up all those Fairy Waters for 9-16. But yeah, he'll probably pick up 19, and hopefully that'll offer a little more attack power and make it a lot safer for us after throwing those fairy waters.
Yeah, nycguy settling in here to a little desert grind. This looks like it's north of Garanham. This
is very nice. Yeah, it's unfortunate he wasn't able to get to this a little quicker because this is Axe Knights in the desert right near a town. Man, that's a great find there. It would have been really interesting. I guess we can still track the experience graphs and see, but it would have been nice to see the two grinds side by side and see how they went. So, again, I think nycguy needs to hope that something unfortunate happens to Guelph here, and with Guelph pushing it a little bit, maybe, but I feel like once 18 comes along, nycguy's probably going to push it the same way, because like I said, he kind of feels behind, so...
Yeah, and unfortunately, the encounter rate is kind of being pretty kind, and that it's not giving us a lot of fights, but that's the opposite of what we want.
When you want to explore, you get all the encounters. When you want to grind, nothing. Game goes.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, Matt, no one saved the princess. The princess did not save the prince. The coordinates were very countable. For those who haven't seen the sprite before, though, NYC Guy is playing as Princess Gwaelin, who you normally save. We saw Guelph, well, actually, we didn't in this seed, but Guelph, had he needed to, would have saved Princess Gwaelin. Well, Princess Gwaelin is not going to save Princess Gwaelin. So in this, with this sprite, if you choose to use the Princess Gwaelin sprite, as NYC Guy has, if we had had to rescue the quote-unquote princess, it wouldn't have been the princess, it would have been Prince Guimond. So NYC
awesome.
Guy was unable to, or did not need to rescue Prince Guimond, and Guelph did not need to rescue Princess Gwaelin because the cards were very countable. But that's an interesting little quirk if you happen to play as Princess Gwaelin.
That's super fun. Are there any other sprite edits that have that sort of interaction?
Well, there's one that's really, everyone kind of likes. If you play as Tav the dog, then after you rescue, you still rescue the princess, but after you rescue the princess will actually ride the dog home. Yoshi also, that's right, Yoshi. Yeah, if you play as Yoshi, I forgot that one.
That's awesome.
The princess will ride home. Oh, Magru's saying there's a new one in 3.0. Ooh, tempted to guess. As we talk about all the sprites, though, Guelph, I mean, this is kind of going to what the dive has been like for Guelph. Guelph is just, cruising along. He's halfway through Charlock because we're talking about sprites and rescuing Prince Guimond and stuff. He's just chilling through Charlock. He is defense breaking a lot of enemies. He's defense breaking everything up to green dragons. He's got a red here. He's only 210 experience away, or 205 experience away. No, 1650. Look, he's some experience away from it. He's close. He's close.
You gotta write that down.
16,500. Yeah, I know. See, this was not in the oven for 3 hours beforehand. So he's getting close. He can be picky with his fights. He didn't want to bother with, spending the resources on that red dragon. Got away from that. Not gonna want to spend the resources on this golem, so takes off from that. But killed the Axe Knight. I assume the Star Wyvern's done for, because it's defense broken. And so he'll probably get 19 right on the Spike Tile, I'm guessing. That's how he'll be able to plan.
Yeah, we're getting there. And NYC Guy's creeping up. Closed the gap a little bit. We're now about 5,000 back where we were 7,000. So closing that XP gap.
Yeah, that's well, that makes sense because Guelph is diving and being very picky with his fights, so it makes sense. I do kind of agree with chat, though. I think even I've had this situation where you're just not sure where to grind. There's not really any great options, and I think it's best to just stay in one spot. I've kind of been indecisive and moved around a lot, and just never really good to move around. So I think it's always better to be just decisive and stick somewhere. Even if it's not the best, it's better than moving around. But Guelph onto the final floor with hardly any problems. I don't think he's ever really had any major issues. He could, he's a little low on HP. I guess he could herb if he really wanted to, but he's gonna just heal walk it, which is fine. And he's gonna pick up 19 on this Star Wyvern right here. The little bits of experience are always, is it 250? Is it 500? Is it 750? Is it, I don't know, whatever.
Here we go. 11 power.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah. And 26 MP.
Well, unfortunately, he won't get to use that 26 magic points, but he also doesn't need to. Once he saw that 11 power, everything is good. He doesn't even need to use those fairy waters anymore, by the way. He could throw a fairy water right now just to not see any of the annoying little Star Wyverns or something, because now his attack range is going to be 9 to 18, which is plenty, which is more than the fairy water would do, so... now we're looking at my pre-cooked numbers here. 9 to 18, 12 to 13 attacks. You'd want 11 heal mores in the worst of worst situations, and he's got 12. So should be pretty routine there. 19's going to give Guelph, looks like, all he needs to wrap this up. Just has to finish this walk, deal with one Spike Tile enemy, and he'll be to the final boss. Yeah, Matt, unfortunately, 16 is so far... The stats are pretty bad on 16 that I don't even think... if you're looking at, like, a Hail Mary, like, double hurt more on 16, because the 114 is just so bad for doing attacks, so I think NYC Guy is just looking to do some grinding out here, maybe saw some Armored Knights out here, but again, the problem with this area is it's so far away from things. That's kind of the big issue, I think, of most of the good grind zones either had, as chat mentioned, like a blue dragon hanging out in them, they're very, very mean, or they're just really far away from any resources, so... Guelph, meanwhile, sees said golem right there. I trash talked the fairy flute, and it was on that. The golem was on that spike tile the whole time. Fairy flute could have put that golem to sleep, but whatever. Guelph is through. He's fine. He's got the 11 heal mores that I mentioned you'd want. That's the worst of worst case scenarios. And looks like he's probably going to be okay here. He starts his Dragon Lord 1 fight. He gets an attack. He's defense breaking the Dragon Lords. The attack does nothing. He just shoots the Dragon Lord 1 off the screen. And he's going to go in with a ton of HP. Does not get back attacks. So he's got a guaranteed double to boot. So that is really good for him. He's going to throw the Fairy Waters anyway. Which, I mean, is fine. Fairy Waters were 9 to 16. His attack would do 9 to 18. But not a very big difference. So either one is okay. He should be fine no matter which one he picks. It's still throwing those Fairy Waters, but not getting a great Fairy Water roll, but 11's enough. It looks like he's alternating between Fairy Waters and attacks. You see there his attack does 12 and the Fairy Water did 11, so roughly the same.
Yeah, you just gotta kind of mix things up for your fingers, do different things.
Ooh, gets another 11. Okay, so it's a little bit under average from his attack. His average attack would be a 13, so he gets an 11 from the attack also, so everything's coming up 11s. He has a small chance. If he can get 2 low-roll Dragon Lord attacks, he has a small chance at getting doubles in the fight, but unlikely. He gets another 11. Yeah, even right there, he got 2 kind of low attacks and still wasn't really close to a double, so. There's a 24, though. Dragon Lord does that again. Another 11.
It's 11s all the way down.
Yeah, I think he's still okay. I didn't bother counting because I thought he had it. There's a 16. That's more like it. I thought he had it in the bag, but these 11s would make me a little bit scared, but I think he's still okay.
We've got 1 heal more left in the bank, though.
Yeah, on average, the Dragon Lord should have bit the dust in that last attack. He should get 2 more attacks, though, so I think he's alright. And, yep, there we go. Oh, 17. Just smash him down. So it went on a little longer. We had to build the drama a little bit. Had to give a little sweat there, but Guelph taking out the Dragon Lord. He's going to return home. He's going to finish this up just under 2 hours. So get your GGs out for Guelph. He's going to win this race and move to 1-2 in the tournament. Yeah, the first 10 rolls were all pretty low. To be fair, 11 to 13 is not bad for the Fairy Water, but yeah, for his attack, that's definitely a sub-average, below average. But, you know, he got that opening double and still had an attack to spare at the end. So McGrew, he started with 88 MP, 11 heal mores on the dot.
And that's official race time GG of 152.10, so pretty good. You know, for how high they forced them to go.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. We'll have to ask Guelph about that in a second. Hopefully he can join us here in a minute. But that's an interesting one. When you start with, remember we started with the sword. Hurtmore showed up after, I don't know, 5-10 minutes or so. I was kind of looking like a jet seed at the start, and then became anything but a jet seed. You know, 152 finish. So we'll have to see. I mean, it makes sense. We had low HP out for a while. We had to go to 19 to get the thing done. We had blue dragons causing trouble. Grinds were a mess. So it makes sense. But yeah, what started off as a jet seed, ended up being a little more trouble than we maybe expected.
And Guelph is going to join us, just taking a break real quick to kind of shake some things out. And nycguy gonna keep going. Want to finish it out for the fans.
Yeah, look at this. They both settle in the same grind. They're both kind of mixing in some Hawksness enemies with those blue dragons. Guelph, NYC guy has hit 17. That's the level we saw Guelph was able to start, had enough HP, had enough resources, and enough attack power to really take out those blue dragons pretty consistently. So NYC guy looks like he's come to the same conclusion. He's going to hang out here and yeah, I wonder if he's going to try to push. I guess he knows that Guelph is done. I wonder if he's going to try to push 18. Because we kind of saw that even on 19, Guelph went to the very last, second to last attack. So 18 might be rough. NYC guy sees this wizard. I don't think he saw the heal more on the wizard yet, so he's probably loving that wizard's there, and maybe won't in a second.
And we've got Guelph with us. GG's, Guelph.
Thank you. Glad to finally get a win this year.
Yeah, we were talking about that at the beginning. You've had some tricky matchups there, and this was a nice little redemption seed for you, though it was a bit weird, and I was just mentioning this in our little wrap-up summary of the seed. We started with the sword. We started with... we had Hurtmore minutes in or so, and it ended up being almost a 2-hour seed. So how did that happen? Where did that come from, right?
Yeah, well, the lack of hit points at first then turned into a lack of strength late. Anytime you have to grind to level 19 and your choices are an armored knight that is 5 miles away from the nearest town, or a blue dragon with DL2 breath, it's gonna take a while.
Yeah, we were mentioning all those the grind opportunities were not super great. So that certainly slowed things down a little bit. Going back to what you said, the HP, how did you, I want to say, what were some of the things you were doing to kind of manage that low HP or deal with that?
When I saw that there was a gold grind available and I knew where the silver shield was, I knew that getting that silver shield was going to be high priority. And when I found out what the Hawkston spike was and that I probably wasn't going to be able to kill it easily, I knew that mountain cave had a lot of good mid-tier enemies that I could just blast with Hurtmore, and kind of do a dual XP and set up a gold grind at the same time. That was probably the move of the move of the race that I liked the most, was getting that all done at once.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that, because actually, as you guys were gold grinding, it was almost synchronized gold grinding. I think that you did your gold grinding first, Guelph, and NYC guy, you were maybe a minute or two behind with the gold grind, but that happened roughly at about the same time, so it was kind of cool to see. I had missed the silver shield available in Remolder at first, so I was kind of looking around like, what's going on? And you both had it, so... NYC guy, tough seed. We were talking about it. You start off with so many things, and then, boy, the seed just put a wall up there. You're actually both neck and neck for, I want to say, the first half hour, like within points of experience of each other, and then it kind of, you had a little rough time with the exploration there. How did that end up going for you, NYC?
Yeah, it wasn't that bad, but my dark nav. I mean, I can do dark nav, just that my controller sucks. And engrave. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do this. But then getting out was painful. So hope you enjoyed that. Silver harp music. But I had to die from a Droll Magi. In hindsight, I guess I probably should have just kept bumping around to get out, because knowing that I had to go back to that same area for the silver trade. But I don't know, it was just bad overall, but I thought it was fairly efficient. But yeah, definitely, as you said, towards the end I definitely started to taper off. I mean, the map wasn't that big, just it was hard to determine where to grind, and I towards the end there, and I even tried for a few more minutes after you had finished, just to keep grinding on random things. It's just like, this is so bad. My favorite enemy was the golem, actually, but they were just harder to find.
It was a bad grind. I ended up for a little while, I was wandering the desert with rappel on, hoping to get red dragons because they at least only had punch more, and I knew I could beat them. But then once we got that, what 90? I think it was when we had the 90 hit points. Then the blue dragon was the easier kill.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like that. It's just that I didn't like the fact that he was throwing DL2 so much, at least when I encountered him. I mean, I even had an ambush DL2, and I was like, all right, I can't face that. So yeah, I mean, I did a lot of grinding on the overworld, actually. I think I did some Axe Knights in the beginning outside of, what is that? Town south of, or I guess Cole is what it was. And yeah,
Cool.
but other than that, it was just like, where else do I grind? And then I wasted a lot of time just looking for golems outside of Charlock. But I really had no other plans.
What was the stop resist on the golems?
Pretty low in my opinion. I think I hit almost every single one. I think I might have missed once.
I hit 1 out of 2 because the only time I tried fighting it was the spike tile in at the end. Only 2 out of 16. Okay, so I was just unlucky that I missed the first one I threw. Otherwise, I probably would have gone for golems more if I knew it was that low.
Yeah, it's just that finding them was the challenge. Obviously, I thought it was a decent zone outside of Charlock. I mean, you had armored knights, you had golems.
They were also near. I thought they were in that desert near Hawksness too,
I thought so too.
or maybe
But
the
when
one near Garanham.
yeah, maybe near Garenham, that sounds more about it, because near Hawksness, I think it was just mainly those freaking red dragons. What I saw.
Well, there were blues and there were armored knights in the path between Hawksness and Rimalder. Because I always tried to always save 1 heal more just in case I ran into one trying to reload it during the grind.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's just that, it is what it is.
Yeah,
I didn't expect to win, honestly, but I wanted to at least put up a closer time. But see, I'm glad to see that I forfeit when I did. I did not want to go 2 more levels, so.
yeah, yeah. I actually, when I saw, or I was grinding Go at I think level 14, but I knew our stats were so far away. If that armored knight was closer to any healing, it would have been good. But it was so far away from anything that you would have lost so much time every time you had to reload on magic.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it was just. I mean, but there were good encounters along the way. You just had to leave at an appropriate time. But yeah, I kind of ruled them out. I thought about it, but yeah, it wasn't a good idea. So, what was I gonna say? Is that I guess in hindsight for this seed, I mean, I thought I was good. 2.2.1. If any lesson to be learned is that you definitely had to do an early grind. So I kind of, once I found like a okay spot, I committed to that kind of grind a little bit until I got a few more levels. But in hindsight, if you had just, had I just explored a little bit, found Canton a little bit sooner, I think that would have been a little bit better for me because, I didn't get the armor until about like 50 some minutes in, which probably would have been.
I was a similar time frame, and I was afraid that I was, 20 minutes behind getting it because Cantlin, it was only one screen away from Hawksness, and I probably spent about 15 minutes, keep on going back to Hawksness trying to kill that blue dragon.
Gotcha. Yeah, I saw him and then I ran because I already saw how bad he was. But then I just spent a lot of time grinding outside of Cole because there were some Act Knights there. I think there were what is it, that Star Wyverns, so yeah, it is worth it.
I took a couple of, if I hit 2 Hurtmores, I've got them, and I had, or I thought a Hurtmore in a swing. We were borderline strong enough to kill it that way, but just wasn't able to do it until a little bit later.
Yep, well,
I was 5 minutes ahead on the armor.
Definitely
Yeah.
GG to everybody. Well, sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
So that's what I was gonna mention too. That was our other question that we had for you both. Was NYC, you mentioned you thought you were late to the armor, but actually, yeah, it was very close. I think Guelph went to you at the armor, and I think as Guelph was picking it up, NYC, I think you were getting the coordinates. So it was, you were not that far behind the armor. And kind of a general question that we have, you mentioned in 2.2.1 that, maybe early grinding or mid-game grinding is more likely. But just, in general, maybe not that seed specific, or maybe specific to that seed. How do you really decide, how do you guys decide when you want to take off and start exploring versus when you should hang around and grind? And, how'd you decide to move on and start exploring in that particular seed?
I mean, this seed was pretty forgiving, I would say, as a start, because we had the sword and hurt more pretty early. So, and then heal more came pretty early as well. Like you can easily get those first 5 or 6 levels right outside of Tanagal. But then, so yeah, I took a little bit more exploration, but I guess, I don't know, I don't really have like a magic number in mind. I just know that, historically we would aim for 33 agility or, 30 some agility, and now it's kind of like you have to move up from there into the 40s, and in mid game you want to try to be around 70 or 60 agility. But for this seed, I think it was just more about HP. I don't think we got more than 40 some or 50 some HP until, what was that, like level 14 or something ridiculous. So
yeah, it was real late.
So that was my main thing. I could not go far. I could not take an ambush, DL2 breath, so I had to stay close to home, and that's kind of where I gauged it, which is, in hindsight, good or bad, I don't know, but I guess that's just the way I think I have to play. So
Yeah, and I usually, just try to, I try to find the strongest thing I can kill. And this time there were things that you could hurt more, but not any great ones. The mountain cave, that was a good place to do a early-ish grind, because that had all the mid-tier, and I think it had werewolves as the strongest enemy, and a bunch of other mid-tier stuff that gives you that 50 to 70 experience per shot. But yeah, in general, it's do I think that grinding one more level will make it easier for me to do anything? That's my gauge of, do I keep grinding? Sometimes you're so hopeless that you just need to search and hope you find something that's going to help. That you might grind for 15 more minutes and get 2 more strength and still not be anywhere.
All right. Yeah, I was saying that's kind of the magic question of the randomizer, right? When do you want to stop grinding and start exploring? And as it turned out,
when you have the sword and you have hurt more and you have a way to kill things.
Right, but then as far as this seed went, you had all those things, you could kill things, but you had 30 something HP, like you pointed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a tough.
Be able to walk a lot.
Yeah, it's always a tough question. There's always something, it feels like. But it was kind of interesting. You both kind of picked the same moment to do your exploring. And as soon as you both explored, you saw Canton right away and had your armor. So that obviously is going to help a lot with the exploring, too.
Definitely.
All right.
Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate everybody for getting together. Obviously, as always, the whole team, Rye and who was it that joined? Did someone join you? Did Caleb join you for comms?
Caleb
maybe?
joined us up here, yep.
Gotcha. And thank you, Mike, for tracking. And obviously, thank you, Caleb, for the restream. But GG, Guelph.
Yeah, GG, and better luck next week.
I'm going for 0-5, baby.
Then the miracle play-in way into the brackets.
Nope.
Oh, NYC is going to try to be our first 1-4 to win the championship. It can happen. It's got to happen, right? They said a 16 couldn't win in the NCAA tournament. That happened, right? So you can do it.
Yeah, right. Anyway, well, thank you guys, and I appreciate the earlier time. It's definitely helpful so that I can get to bed and be up in like 5 hours. So thanks, guys.
All
GG's,
right.
man.
Anything else, Guelph or Caleb, you have to say before you all get to bed?
I will second the thank yous to all the behind-the-scenes workers to give us a place to show our skills, and looking forward to hopefully fighting my way back to the brackets. All
right. Well, thank you both for a great race. Said it. It was literally within a handful of experience points for a very long time. Diverged a little at the end there, but very, very close through most of that race. Mike's got our links there in the chat. Give our runners a follow. nycguy / nycguy and Guelph35. Also, give our help a follow too. Thank you so much to Caleb for restreaming, SH Mike for tracking, and of course Caleb for also pulling double duty up here in the comms booth with me. So thank you everyone for putting this together. And well, again, most importantly, thank you to our racers for another great race in this tournament.
This was a lot of fun. If you haven't found it yet, you should check out, I think it's dragonwarriorrandomizer.com for information.
Absolutely, Mike's got that too. If you want to join this and jump into all the randomizer fun, Mike's got the links there for the schedule links for the rest of this tournament, and you can join the Discord where you can find out how you can start enjoying all the fun that Blue Dragons with Dragonlord 2 Breath and Golems with Sleep have to offer. I promise you'll get the sword every single time out of the throne room too.
I'm 3 for 3 on seeds I've rolled, so...
So note to self, get Caleb to restream all my races. Understood.
Hype. This was a lot of fun though, Ryan. Thanks for having me in the booth with you.
All right. Thank you, Caleb. And with that, I think we're going to wrap it up here. We've got a raid to RPG Limit Break, it sounds like. So
Yep.
I'm sure they've got some fun stuff in store there. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good night. We'll see you at our next race.